Hey guys, it's Will from Tested. I'm here in this room. I have a laptop. It's time to answer your questions. That's right. Tested Mailbag. Right now, let's do this. First question. Hey Will, do you think Verizon is completely crazy for not having a Windows 7 phone at launch? If so, how long do you think it will take them to accept the format, considering they've already stated they are interested in having it? There's a couple of different things that could be going on, a whole lot of stuff. There could be an exclusivity window. It could be that they want to push through some other product before they start rolling out another new product. I think it'll be in the next few months. I don't think they would wait for a second generation of phone. I think that they, if it starts selling well, then they'll definitely pick it up sooner than they would if it seems like there's not a whole lot of consumer interest in it. I'm pretty impressed with Windows Phone 7 so far. So there you go. And yes, I think it's crazy that they don't have a launch phone. The next question. My brother has a Samsung Android phone on a family plan. My parents are switching to a different carrier when the contract ends, but are worried about my brother's phone. Is it possible to transfer it to the new carrier, or would he have to buy a new one? So there's a couple of different things that are going on here. One, if your carriers use a different spec for the radio signal, then it won't work no matter what they do. So T-Mobile and AT&T use more or less the same bandwidth. They use different spectrums for high-speed data. So if you're on AT&T, it uses one spectrum. If you're on T-Mobile, it uses another. Some phones have the radio capability of working on both T-Mobile and AT&T fine with no problems. If your phone that he has now does not do that, I assume it's probably a Captivate or one of the Galaxy S phones. Depending on what that phone is, you need to find out whether it's a quad band or tri-band GSM radio. That'll be the thing that tells you. There's a couple of other things that happen that pertain here. One is that carriers also lock phones so they'll only work with the SIM card from their actual provider. That's so you can't go buy a phone cheap on as an upgrade for your plan on a contract, and then cancel your contract, pay the $100 or $150 or whatever it is, take the phone to another provider. You can get them to unlock phones either by calling the manufacturer or the vendor and saying, hey, I'm going to Europe or something like that. So maybe a little fib will help you get that unlocked. They give you a code. Not all phones actually have that capability, but generally you type in like a 25-digit code or something and it unlocks the phone. The other thing that's important to note is if he's currently on the contract, if they've renewed the phone, if they paid the full price, my feeling is that they should give you the unlock code. A lot of times they will, sometimes they won't. Basically, it kind of depends on the carrier that you're talking to or how the person on the other end of the phone is doing on any particular day. So try to call it a low volume time, midday, noon, 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what low volume is. Depends on where your time zone is and all that kind of stuff. But that's what I would recommend. So call your carrier, see if you can get them to unlock it so it will work on the other provider. First, make sure it works on the other provider. It's not, Verizon and Sprint use different technologies than T-Mobile and AT&T. So I don't even think you can take a Sprint phone to Verizon or vice versa. Verizon phones are for Verizon, Sprint phones are for Sprint. T-Mobile phones will work on AT&T kind of and vice versa. DJ Dane asks, please tell me about the music you might have heard early in childhood, during that pure state without any other context, when you were first deciding what sounds good, bad, or strange. That would most likely include the music your parents played. My parents didn't listen to a whole lot of recorded music, but we played a fair amount of music around the house as a kid. My mom played piano, Dad played banjo and guitar and all that stuff. So we played a fair amount of music in that kind of sense. Mom is a kind of Beatles 60s rock fan. Dad listens to kind of older Kingston Trio and a lot of 50s bubblegum pop stuff. I'm not a huge fan of that. It didn't really stick for me. I love the Beatles. I like a lot of 60s rock, mid to late 60s rock. Not a huge fan of the kind of the bubblegum teeny bopper stuff from the 50s, the Ritchie Valenses and Buddy Holly's okay. I don't know what else this question is about, but yeah, then we listened to a lot of like the normal kind of nursery rhymes and stuff like that. A lot of the music we listened to was kind of designed for kids, Mary Had a Little Lamb and stuff like that. Okay, so this is a moral and technical question. This user asks, I'm interested in being able to access my home computer from another computer, more specifically so I can get around the site blocker at school. First off, do you know if this would work? And secondly, what do you recommend? I'm on Windows 7 at home. yes, this is very definitely something you can do. It's hard to do when you can't install software on the machines that you're using. There's a larger question here. Bypassing your school's proxy or firewall or site blockers or all that stuff can get you in pretty big trouble if they catch you. So I don't recommend doing it. You're at school for a specific reason. Learn, study. There's plenty of time to fuck around the internet at home, at night, whatever. Don't, for the love of God, don't get expelled because you wanted to check out Giant Bomb or Test or something like that while you're at school. Just toe the line, follow along. It's high school. It's pretty easy. Just have fun. Try not to get in too much trouble. I'm thinking about buying a new 4GB Xbox. So this is the Xbox Slim with 4GB of onboard flash and no hard drive. Do you know if it's possible to add a third-party hard drive? Absolutely. Well, yes and no. You can add a first-party hard drive from Microsoft. They sell you have to buy the specific model for the new Xbox Slims or S's or whatever they're calling it. I think there's only a 250 gig model that I found. I think it costs $125 or $130, something like that. So you can't take just a normal notebook hard drive, jam it in an enclosure and put it in. It needs to have some special software and stuff on it for it to work. I think there's probably ways around that, but when you do that, then you run the risk of getting your Xbox Live profile banned because they feel like you're hacking or something like that. I mean, basically, that is a crazy expensive price for a 250 gig hard drive today, but on the other hand, I don't want to lose all my achievements and my Xbox Live gamer tag and all that stuff by getting banned. So pony up the dough for the $129 one if you're going to do that. It's probably more cost effective to just buy the 250 gig Xbox 360S with the hard drive already in it. So that's my recommendation. So this is a good question. This is about sharing your your music on the network so that your iTunes stuff doesn't fill up your hard drive at home. There's a bunch of ways to do this. The way I do it is using Symlinks. So the folder that iTunes thinks it's storing music in is actually a symlink to a network share on a NAS drive on a home server, Windows Home Server machine that's in my garage. That works reasonably well. Sometimes there's a little bit of jankiness when you're copying files in and out of iTunes, or when the iTunes is scanning for whatever reason, or if you try to turn on iTunes and the server is off or crashed or shut down or something, then that produces unpredictable results. We did a symlink how-to on the site. If you search for Symlinks on Tested, it'll pop right up. Basically what a symlink is a fake folder that instead of just being another place on the hard drive, it's a pointer. It's a redirect to another place either on the hard drive or on the network or on a different hard drive entirely that says, oh hey, when somebody says go to c:/users/will/music/iTunes music, instead of looking on the hard drive, it says, oh, actually the stuff that's supposed to be in iTunes music is on Will's home server /music/Will's iTunes, whatever. I think iTunes is one of the specific examples I give in that how-to. So check that out. It's a good how-to. It's relatively easy. You have to be kind of careful because you can cause big problems when if the symlinks get broken, or you actually you can create an infinite loop by putting a symlink to a folder in a symlink folder, and then that makes bad things happen with like antivirus and defrag and stuff like that. So definitely be careful when you're using Symlinks. They're a powerful tool, but you can use them for all sorts of awesome stuff like that. I do the same thing for photos. So whenever I import something into my photos folder on my computer, then it just goes onto the home server and it's there and it's safe and it's backed up and all that. It's good tip, Symlinks. The next question is about smartphones. I've realized that I really want a smartphone so I can check my email on the go. But unfortunately, I can only afford 150 megabytes per month as my data plan. I know 150 megabytes isn't much, but is it enough to just check my email a few times a day? Thanks. 150 megabytes should be enough if you turn off automatic attachment downloading, don't load images, all that kind of stuff. I think unless you get a crazy amount of email, you should be totally fine. What I would do is just set whatever phone you decide to get to manually update and only update it when you want to look, and then you can kind of keep track. Most smartphones, at least on Android and iTunes, give you data meters, so you can kind of keep an eye on how much data you're using on any particular time frame, so you can kind of keep track of it and know where you're at. You definitely won't be streaming stuff like Pandora or doing a whole lot of web browsing or even probably downloading apps and stuff like that on the go. So 150 megabytes is totally doable, especially if you have Wi-Fi at work and at home. So then you don't use your data plan for that kind of stuff. Can you do a video on DIY home theater PCs for those of us who don't feel like buying an Apple TV, Google TV, Roku, Boxy, what have you? Yeah, we definitely can. We've had it on the queue for a long time. You know, with the rise, as the streaming boxes get better, it's hard to beat a $200 box. But I think we can probably do something that's $500 to $600 somewhere in there that looks okay and fits in nicely with your entertainment stuff. Includes infrared remote and all that jazz. So we'll definitely put it in the queue. It probably won't happen. I guess it'll happen early next year at the soonest, probably, just because it takes a long time to set that kind of stuff up and figure out how, you know, in order to do that story, we really need to build it. One of us needs to use it for a while so we can tell if we actually think that what we've built. I love the taste of coffee, but caffeine makes me crazy. Is there any chance of you doing a decaf coffee special? My wife drinks decaf every day. I kind of don't see the point. I mean, basically, same rules I apply for normal coffee also apply for decaf. Find a good local roaster, buy your coffee from them. It'll still taste good. It's just not going to get you all jacked up on caffeine. So I don't think we need to do a whole special. I'm going to be going to college soon. And rather than keep a TV in the room, I've been thinking about getting a pocket projector for movies and occasional gaming. Do you have any suggestions as to which model of pocket projector is best and preferably affordable? So those were just kind of starting out last year when I was leaving Maximum PC, but we had tested a couple of them. I haven't really tested anything since then. They weren't particularly good. They're neat. They're definitely handy for like traveling salesmen, people like that need to project stuff regularly. I can see some kind of art uses and stuff like that for them. I don't think I would want to use them for regular TV watching, and definitely not for gaming, because I don't think the response rates are really very good, and they don't get particularly bright. So I would say probably it's a neat idea, give it a few more years. For the time being, stick with a normal LCD or plasma or something like that. Kivo Solshes says, where did you get that rent is too damn high shirt in the Norm learns to make coffee and connect quick look videos? I checked rentisTooDamnHigh.org, but they didn't have it. Their Rent is Too Damn High t-shirt is just a white Comic Sans on a black t-shirt. That sounds pretty reprehensible. Mine came from shirt.woot.com. That's the good news. The bad news is that those sales are one day only usually, so you're not going to ever see that shirt again. I quite like it. Unfortunately, I think probably the time to wear that Rent is Too Damn High shirt is over. I may get one more use out of it, and after that it'll probably go into the pile with my Red Vines plus Mr. Pibb is Crazy Delicious and Dick in a Box t-shirt. Oh, this is a great question. Are there any comprehensive backup solutions for Android similar to what you get with iTunes on an iPhone? I would like something that would back up my phone as a whole, i.e. not just an app backup or contacts, etc. The bad news, and Jimmy Flynn asks this, the bad news, Jimmy, is there isn't anything that will back up your phone as a whole that I'm aware of. There's a bunch of different smaller apps that will do kind of bits and pieces. And Google backs up your settings and theoretically backs up the apps that you've downloaded and installed itself. But in order to back up the other stuff, you need to use something like Spirit or Astro or something like that. We actually did a how-to on this a few months ago. If you go to Tested and search for Android backup, it's the first result. If I remember, I know you guys called me out on it last week. If I remember, I'll put it in the footer. So I hope. No AT&T store will sell me a Samsung Focus without updating my contract. They won't sell it to me for the no commitment price no matter what. How were you able to do it? I walked into the store and told them I wanted to buy a Samsung Focus for the no commitment price, and they gave the phone to me. If you're having trouble with the local AT&T stores, the first thing I would say is don't go to the contracted AT&T stores that are actually owned and operated by someone else. Go to an official AT&T store if you have one in your area. That'll help some. If that doesn't help, then you can, if that doesn't work, you can go to Amazon, and Amazon's wireless store is selling Samsung Focuses without a contract. I think they were back ordered when I looked 8 or 9 days, but you know, better to wait 8 or 9 days than not get the phone at all. I'm quite enjoying it so far. We'll do a full review probably right after Thanksgiving, I would guess. And that wraps up this week's edition of the Tested Mailbag. As always, send us your questions at formspring.me/tested. We'll answer them on, well, Friday, Saturday, Monday, October, sometime, and post them on the weekend. Thanks for watching. See you guys next week. Have a good one.